Welcome to The Explainer, where we use source material to really dig into complex topics. Today, we're looking at why the city of Thessaloniki is considered such a perfect and, frankly, highly explosive stage for a political thriller. So, the source material we're diving into is a political historical thriller, and it kicks off with a classic hook, the discovery of a really shadowy organization. You know, the kind that pulls strings from behind the curtain. This group has a name, the Shadow Convent, which is just a fantastic name. It means the Shadow Council, and they are planning something devastating. Their whole game is to twist history and religion to serve their own pretty dark ambitions. The target's been chosen, the plan is in motion, and you can just feel the tension. An entire region is basically teetering on the brink of absolute chaos, holding its breath under the weight of conflicts both old and new. And this is the million-dollar question, right? Why this city? We're going to use the thriller itself, Hagia Sofia, Siehst, noch, Weißen Turm, as a kind of lens to figure out exactly why Thessaloniki is described as such a perfect and volatile setting. All right, let's get into it. To even begin to understand what's happening in the present, you have to look at the past. And in Thessaloniki, the past is full of ghosts. This city isn't just a location. It's a living, breathing character in the story. I mean, just think about that for a second. We're talking about a city with roots going back more than 2 millennia. Its streets have literally seen empires rise and crumble. What's so fascinating here is you can see the city's identity just being built up layer after layer. Look at this timeline. It starts as a Roman capital on a super important trade route. Then it becomes the second city of the entire Byzantine Empire. Then a multi-ethnic hub under the Ottomans. Every single era left its mark, adding another complex layer to the city's soul. And this term right here, this says it all. The city wasn't just important. It was a co-reigning city. Think about that. It was considered a co-capital, second only to the mighty Constantinople itself. That status really cemented its role as this beacon of culture and influence for hundreds of years. But here's another critical layer. Throughout all this time, Thessaloniki has also been a sanctuary. It has absorbed wave after wave of people fleeing persecution, from Sephardic Jews way back in the 15th century to this huge influx of Greek refugees in the 20th century. Every group brought their own stories, their own traditions, and their own traumas. So, how does all of this grand, sweeping history actually feel to the people on the ground? Let's zoom in a bit, from the big city to the personal stories that really give it a heartbeat. Because history only becomes real when you see it through someone's eyes. Okay, to make this really tangible, let's look at a nearby town, Koufalia, through the eyes of the thriller's main character, Nikos, who's a historian. For him, this place is all about sweet childhood memories. But just beneath that idyllic surface is a completely different story. The story of a town founded by refugees, a place built on displacement and incredible resilience. And check this out. These refugee communities, they didn't just get by. They absolutely thrived. They turned the whole region into an economic powerhouse. This number, 67%, that's the share of all Greek milk production that comes from this area. It's a direct result of the sheer hard work of people who were forced to start their lives completely over. And this same story of displacement and resilience is echoed so powerfully in the history of the Pontian Greeks. They fled genocide, arrived in Thessaloniki, and built new lives from scratch, weaving their culture and their memory deep into the city's fabric. You can still feel their presence everywhere today, from entire neighborhoods to that solemn memorial right in the city center. Okay, so you have all this deep, often traumatic history simmering just below the surface. How does that play out on the world stage today? Well, this is where the past and the present collide in a really combustible way. This table just lays it out so clearly. It's a classic two-sided coin. On the left, you see all the city's strategic assets. It's a huge port, a gateway to the Balkans. But on the right, you see how every single one of those strengths is also a source of intense modern tension, from arguments over the Aegean Sea to the ongoing Cyprus conflict. And recently, a new ingredient has been thrown into the mix that has raised the stakes like crazy: energy. The planned EastMed pipeline is designed to bring natural gas to Europe right through Greece, which puts Thessaloniki smack dab in the center of these escalating rivalries. The sea is basically a modern-day battleground for resources. And that brings us to the core theme of the thriller, and the ultimate reason why Thessaloniki is such a powder keg. It's where all these different threads,
Ancient history, personal trauma, and modern geopolitics all get tangled together.
So in the thriller, this ancient symbol, the sun of Vergina, becomes the detonator for the whole catastrophe. The source material shows us how something so powerful, a symbol of heritage tied so deeply to who people are, can be taken and actively weaponized in a modern fight.
And that's really the heart of it all. This is the key takeaway. The fictional Shadow Convent gets this completely. They don't need to invent new reasons for a fight. They just have to exploit the deep historical and religious fault lines that are already there to create total chaos.
But then, in this stark contrast to the whole destructive plot, the book also brings up this piece of universal wisdom from the Talmud. It's such a powerful reminder that inside these exact same historical and religious traditions, you also find this profound message about the value of a single human life, a perfect counterpoint to all the forces of division.
So that leaves us with one last, really crucial question. If the past can be so easily twisted into a weapon to be used against us in the present, then maybe understanding it in all its complexity is our best and only defense. What do you think?